Hi Michelle, so this is just a quick help video on how to access your website. Basically, I'll just cover that, and also I'll cover how to do a blog post. You may need to watch this video a couple of times for it to make sense. But first of all, I've sent you an email, and on that email is a link and a username and a password. So if you click the link and enter your username, all in capitals, enter your password, then click sign me in. That will basically bring you to this screen here. You can ignore any messages over the right hand side about payments due. There are no payments due, so I'm not really sure why that appears, but just ignore that. On the left hand side, you click websites. That will bring up this little thumbnail of your website, and then below that you just click edit website. That will then load up Bramble. If you have a fast connection, that will load pretty much instantly, and if you're on a slower connection, it may just take up to 30 seconds for that to load. So the first thing I'm going to say is that when Bramble loads, it loads your home page. So that's the page that it loads up. And you will see some strange symbols and lots of repeated things, like the logo repeated twice, the slider repeated twice. And basically you can ignore those. They're just different elements that are turned off for the phone version, the tablet version, and the mobile, and the PC and the desktop. So just ignore any strange symbols, ignore anything duplicated. You don't need to worry about those. You basically scroll down to each section, you click a section, that then highlights in the green box. You're then able to go in and make changes like you would a Word document to that particular section. Very much the same as you scroll down. You can move things as well. So again, this displays strangely because they're sort of stacking side by side and they're repeated. But if you find two boxes and you wanted to change the order of logos, each box you click, you have a move. And you can drag it across if you wanted that on the middle, or if you wanted that to be on the left. You can drag them around if you want to change the order of any images or logos. And again, everything you click, pretty straightforward. You'll get that box that comes up. Again, this section is repeated, so you'll see down below we have this section repeated. Again, one's the PC version, one is the mobile phone version. So if you make text changes to the top version, you need to scroll down and make text changes to the second version as well. So yeah, fairly straightforward in terms of making simple text changes. Another pointer is at the bottom of every page you have this bar, which I've flagged to Google as keywords. So please don't amend or delete those white bars at the bottom that contain the keywords. If you do, Google will realize that we've removed those keywords and it will have an effect on your ranking. So just leave those as they are, please. And then finally, if we've made some changes that we didn't want to publish the changes, so if we've experimented or if we've accidentally deleted something, there's two ways of getting out of that. At the top, you have an undo button, and that will undo the last change you've made. If you're really not sure what you've done, and you can basically just leave without clicking that publish at the top there, that green publish changes. So if we've made all sorts of mistakes and we didn't mean to, we're not quite sure where we're at, we don't publish, we can just leave the page. We've done no damage to the website at all, and everything will remain as it is. If you make lots of deletions and changes and then you publish, that will have published those changes. So just be mindful of that. Another thing that some customers get caught out on is if you're working on your website and you're spending about 20 minutes and you've not published anything, Bramble as a failsafe will lock you out and then you won't be able to make any changes. So as you're making changes, a good rule is if you're happy with the changes you're doing, every 10 minutes or so, publish the changes, and that way you won't get locked out. Because if you spent an hour making lots of changes, it won't tell you you're locked out until you click publish at the top, and that's when it will then tell you that your session is timed out. So yeah, just be aware of that. You've got about sort of 10-15 minutes of making changes, and then really you want to be actually clicking the publish button. So yeah, just be mindful of that. Yeah, so that's fairly straightforward. And then your other pages are on the top here, all stacked up, all named. So for example, your price list page, you just click, it loads it in. Same thing, if you want to change prices, you just go in and change them. When you're happy with the changes, publish changes at the top. Another thing is don't change the font sizes or the fonts too much because they've been done and checked on tablets and on phones. So if you start making fonts bigger or changing them, they may not then display correctly on tablets and phones. So yeah, best to leave the sort of font sizes and fonts as they are. And obviously if you want to change those, just have a chat with me and I can help you with that. So that covers the basics of getting in accessing each page, and how to go through and make simple text changes. Images I would cover in a different video. With images, it's important that you roughly resize them and that you compress them so they're not taking ages to load and they're not slowing the site down. So for now, for images you want to change, let me know and I'll do them for you. If it's something you want to look at and learn yourself, it's something I can cover. So yeah, again, you may need to watch this video back a couple of times for everything to make sense. But what I'm going to just basically show you now is how to do a blog post. So the way you do a blog post is all your blogs are numbered. So blog 1, blog 2, blog 3. So the best practice of doing a blog is to go to the last one that you've done. So in this case, it's blog number 9. So you load that page in. And obviously we don't want to alter that page. That's a live blog. But what we can do is duplicate it. So at the top here, you can see if you hover over it, tells you you're about to duplicate this page. So that keeps this original page as it is, but it duplicates and makes a copy of it. Give that a couple of seconds. When you see at the top right, the little dots disappear and it says page saved correctly. That means we can now name this page. So over on the right, at the moment, it's called copy of blog 9. Obviously, we don't want it to be called that. So we'll delete that and we'll call it blog 10. And I'm just going to put the word test. So when you name a blog page, you cannot put spaces and capitals. You have to basically, if you have another word, so if you put test in there twice, you put a little hyphen. So basically that's how you name a blog page. Yeah, so we'll just call this one for now, blog 10 test. And then if you're happy with that, you click the little padlock and you'll notice at the top here, that's then renamed that page. The best thing to do then is to save. That basically means we've kept the last blog post safe. We've made this blog post 10. And then if we finish that, we'll go back in. So important for keywords for blogs is you name the pages something relevant. So if you noticed, every blog that we've got, I've given it the relevant title and the name. So Love Day, Why Yoni, Bees and Bunnies Shop. So yeah, rather than call it test, you'd obviously call it whatever the subject was. So again, you've got some good keywords in this one. So blog 8, pelvic floor. So you've got some good keywords for that. Love versus religion. You've got some keywords in that. So just name the blog the relevant term or the relevant subject. You change the name. So blog number 10. The title will be, for this one, we'll just call it test. If you've already got your text in a Word file, you can just remove that text and paste it in straight from a Word file, or obviously you can type directly into the page. If you type directly into the page, just remember what I said before. After sort of 15 minutes, it may time you out. So do a few paragraphs, publish changes, do a few more paragraphs, publish changes. And that's the best way, the best practice of doing that. So yeah, you might need to watch that back. But basically what we've done is we've gone to blog 9, the most recent blog. We've duplicated it. We've given it a new name. So blog 10 test. And then we've got the content in. And that's basically how you would go about doing more blog posts. When you're happy with the blog, you publish changes and you hit OK. So that's basically how you make that blog page. This bit you may need some help with, but I'm going to show you anyway. So once you've done a blog, obviously we're on your main blog section. We've got boxes here of all of the different blogs you've got. Each one of them has the title, the name, and it also has an image. So what you would do is you go to the last blog, blog 9, duplicate, and that puts a new box down here. We would call that one blog number 10. We would call it whatever the title was. This one is test. You'd basically then click this image and you change the image to whatever your new image is that's going to be on there. So you drag it from your desktop or wherever it is that you've got it, drop it onto there, and it will pop that into the box. And then basically then you have a link. So what you do is if you click on the image and then you click on this little anchor, edit link, you'd want this to link to blog number 10 rather than blog number 9. And same with the click here button. You click it, edit the link, and tell people that's going to link to blog number 10. Save. Obviously then you would publish at the top and then you'd go in and test that that works. So basically what we've done is we've duplicated the last blog box, we've made our new blog box, we've titled it, we've given it the number, and we've changed the image link and we've changed the button link to make sure that's going to blog number 10. Where things can get complicated is if your image that you've uploaded into here is too big or too small in terms of size, the next blogs that you put on will all go out of line. It becomes a little bit messy. So I would say if you publish a blog and you put an image on there, just drop me a quick email and I'll go in and check the sizing is correct so that this page doesn't become a mess. Because if the next image is larger and ends up down here, then all the titles and the buttons end up further down the page, and everything can get a little bit messy. Whereas if you look at the top here, everything's neat, everything lines up nicely because I've sized all the images the exact same size. So yeah, if you do do anything on this page, drop me an email and I'll just double check that the image is the correct size. So yeah, hopefully that's everything you need for now. So it's your login details. I show you basically how to make simple text changes. I've shown you how to duplicate a blog and create a new blog page. And then I've showed you how to come to this main blog section and add that in. Don't forget you have half an hour a month of free support from me as part of your hosting. So the help is there if you're not sure what you're doing. You know, if you said actually I'd rather you did the blog, just write the blog in Word and send it across, and as I've done before, I can add it for you. Or equally, if you'd rather do as much as you can yourself, but you need a little support here and there, you've got that half an hour built in. It can roll as well. So if you've done nothing for a few months, you've got a few hours where I can sit in and go through making adjustments for you. Another thing about the blogs, as you add blogs, is you should email me as well, just so I can do all the relevant SEO and keywords on every single blog, because that will have an impact on Google for you. If you make all the blogs yourself and you don't include that, basically we could miss some hits in there. So yeah, every time you do a new blog, drop me an email. I'll go in and make sure all those bits and pieces are done for you. So yeah, hope that helps. And if you do need anything else, just give me a shout. Thanks for watching.